Can you recognize someone's nationality by their English?
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 Do you think it's possible to speak English without an accent?
So when we think about where English is spoken around the world, we probably will first think about United States and England. Then you might think about Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and at least you think about India, Kazakhstan, Nigeria, and South Africa. If a teacher will teach English at school, nobody will ask her if she's going to teach Nigerian or Indian English, right? But for all of the English speakers around the world, 500 million people speak English out of the USA and UK. There is a researcher who developed a theory to represent the variations of English around the world. They're called Kashuru circles. In this representation, we first have the inner circle, formed by the countries where English is spoken as the first language. After that, we have the outer circle, formed by the countries where English is spoken as the second language. And then we have the expanding circle, formed by the countries where English is spoken as the foreign language. But this theory is criticized by other researchers because it places American and British English as the central or standard English, devaluing the other varieties of English. After all, we need to acknowledge and value all of the culture, history, and identities involved in a language. That's why, in the beginning of the video, you could observe many people from different nationalities speaking in their own way.
Stars are pretty, aren't they? What's so funny?
Is your American accent. Everything you say sounds stupid.
But let me ask you a question. If someone right now asks you, what variety of English do you think is more suitable, more correct? Your unconscious would probably say American or British English, right? But even if you don't consider them as their more suitable or more correct way to speak English, many people around the world aim to learn this variety of English. But why do you think like that, guys? But some explanations to this fact are associated to the political and economical issues involved in these countries. Historically, these countries created a domination over other countries, and that's why people tend to imitate their accents. In the American case, the culture industry helped to spread this idea that the American English is the best one. Sometimes you know more about the variety of English inside of the United States, for example, than here in Brazil. Do you know any slang from Pará, for example? Another important fact is the intelligibility. According to Kashur, intelligibility is not always necessary. It depends on the environment you are in. He gives an example of an Indian family. At home, they understand each other really well, but sometimes we need to be adapted to the environment or to the situation. For example, when I'm going to talk to a friend or a relative, I can use an informal speech. But if I'm going to talk to my boss or to a teacher, I need to be adapted to this situation. I need to use a formal speech. When we are in a conversation, we need to take in consideration the intonation, the expression, and the way we talk. It's not only the speech, it's also the interpretation of this situation. So now that we have talked about the English in the contemporary world, how can we overcome this myth of the correct English and the myth of the native speaker? According to Kashuru, this problem will continue to exist in our society because of the varieties of English we have today. So, we believe there are still many things to be changed and developed over time. We, as future English teachers, are looking forward to use these and other materials to fight against this problem with our students. In that way, little by little, we are going to keep developing a critical thinking with our students.